Beloved leader, may the Lord bless you and keep you strong. Thank you for the work you're doing with your group and your supervision. Today I want to talk about the best mentor. You know, this week we have been dealing in the daily videos with the subject of the best or the real followers of Jesus. But right now I want to focus on Christ as the mentor. And in Matthew 12, 13 to 21, we will find 7 aspects of his leadership and then 4 things he would not do. Yes? Okay, so let's read. It says that in verse 13 that, so the man held out his hand and it was restored just like the other one. Then the Pharisees called a meeting to plot how to kill Jesus. Verse 15, but Jesus knew what they were planning, so he left that area. It gets my attention that he just made a miracle, performed a miracle, and now he's leaving the area. Why? Probably because it was not his fight, not his place, and not his time. And friends, in our ministries, there are things that might look like opportunities, but it is time to leave the distraction, anything that is deterring you from fulfilling your ministry, your calling, anything that sometimes it can be a fight, an argument, a preoccupation, a fear, anything. So Jesus left that area, and this was common of the Lord. It was not one time. He even said to his disciples, when you are persecuted in one city, go to the next. Because Jesus didn't want to waste his energy and his time, his ministry, in fighting and winning his own personal battles, because he had a different mission, which was to redeem humanity. And many people followed him. So he left that area, but the people still followed him. He healed all that the sick among them. So he left. He healed the people, and then he warned them not to reveal who he was. In other words, he was not looking for popularity. He was rather focusing on his message. This fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah concerning him. Look at my servant. That's another characteristic of the ministry of Jesus. More than a leader, he is presented as a servant whom I have chosen, he said. He is my beloved who pleases me. Another characteristic of the ministry of Jesus, he lived to please the Father. He will do the will of the Father. He said, what I see the Father doing, this is what I do. What I hear the Father saying, this is what I say. I will put my Spirit on him, the Lord said. And yes, Jesus was a carrier of the Holy Spirit because Jesus was God himself, but also the dove of the Spirit descending on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nation. That word proclaim is the key to this passage, because he didn't get distracted with anything else. And in a moment we'll see 4 things that Jesus did not do in his ministry, but he rather focused on the proclamation. And this is my word to you, beloved leader. Do not let things distract you. Do not overcrowd your schedule with things that you may not need. Do what the Lord calls you to do. Fulfill your duties and your ministry with your family. Yes, work hard and do your best. But don't let anything that is negative, any fights that you shouldn't be in, any arguments, any Facebook aggressions or disagreements, but rather focus on the message. He will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not fight or shout or raise his voice in public. He will not crush the weakest reed or put out a flickering candle. In other words, no political power, not brute force, no military power, no economic force, but rather his message and his mission to redeem humanity. And here is the closing word, because as usual, the ministry of Jesus always ends in victory. Finally, he will cause victory he will cause justice to be victorious, and his name will be the hope of all the world. That is who Jesus is. And in the same way, your ministry will be a victorious ministry. But don't get distracted. Leave the things you have to leave and focus on proclaiming the message of Christ. God bless you. Keep strong.